10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes on a Friday night. If you're not out drinking, why? Why not? But hey, thanks for watching. It's going to be a fun show. We've got Gary, we've got Dan. I think Ian's having internet problems again, so you might not make it tonight, which is a bit of a shame. But before we get going, we'll do the usual stuff and just get the comments out the way with. Evening all, welcome to NUFC Fulham preview. Please like and share, subscribe to help the channel reach like-minded fans. Please adhere to standard community guidelines, keep comments respectful, and enjoy the show. You can join the channel from just 99p and gain entry into a regularly members monthly prize draw, or donate using the super chat in the bottom right-hand corner. All money goes to the running of the channel, and then the rest of it goes to charity. And don't forget, we've got Dire Crow, who are absolutely fantastic. 20% off to use Baz20. Link is in the description. There's been a few of yous already in there. Gary's in the house. Dan's been in the chat before the show started. Leslie's there doing it. There's Dan going, hey, hey. Emily's in the house again as well. Great to see you, Emily. And Lee's in the house as well. So fantastic stuff. So we are here to discuss, obviously, the next game, which is Fulham at home. Always a tricky one. It's going to be an interesting conversation because we've got some interesting talking points to go through tonight. But before I bring the guys in, I just want to remind you all about last night's show with Denny, the barman who knows it's not every Premier League result, it's every Newcastle Premier League result since 1993. You give him a game, so say Newcastle v Charlton, as it is in this video, and you give him the year 1995, I think it was, he can recite the exact score. And there's over 1,100 Newcastle games in the Premier League, and he knows every single one. We claims to know every single one of them. And he smashed it out of the park. Sometimes he knows the goal scorers as well, which is even more impressive. But the reason why I'm plugging this is because he has got his own TikTok account. He's just started it. Please go and follow him. But we will be opposite Shearer's Bar tomorrow. I managed to get a day off work, especially for this, because he's coming up. He doesn't know anything about technology. He doesn't know what he's doing. And we're going to share the content between his TikTok, our TikTok, YouTube, all our accounts. And we're going to have a food bank bucket with a chalkboard that says, come and test my knowledge. £5 in the bucket. If you can outsmart him with a result, and it has to be a Premier League one, because I did ask about being relegated to the Championship. Can you remember those ones? He said, no, it's only Premier League. He will give you £50. So a £5 donation, you could win £50 if you can outsmart him, outsmart his knowledge. And to be honest with you guys, good looks. I don't think you will. He's a cracking guy as well. We had a great laugh last night. He's a bit of a jack in the box. His first time doing a live show before, you could tell. But I think he'll settle in and he'll do a really good job of what he's doing. So please go and give him a follow. Pause it. Write that down. It's Denny_.1892 on TikTok. It's the only social media account he's got because he hasn't got a clue what he's doing, but he's going to have some fun with it. So go and follow him. Well, I think I plugged that and the hell out of that. So let's bring the guys in. Evening.
Hey. Good evening, guys.
The monkeys. Can't stop a monkey around. How we doing?
All right, good. Good to see you. I can't remember. Is this my first show since I've been back? I think so.
Yes, I think it is.
So good to see you guys. So no, it's good to see everybody in the chat. Once again, I'd like to say how nice it was to meet some of our show regulars at the talk-in. It was nice to meet Nick and Caitlin in person. Roger Cook in person. Andy, of course, we know Andy. Gary. It was great to meet all those folks. So looking forward to our next trip out.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm hoping later in the spring. I might be able to come over in May. We'll see.
Whoa. Right at the end of the season.
Yep. Either Chelsea or Everton. I'm going to see if I can get to one of those two.
And an FA Cup final.
And the FA, and the FA Cup final. I won't be able to make the Carabao Cup final. That's my 23rd wedding anniversary. I don't think I got the honeymoon there. I don't think I get to go back for a Carabao Cup final.
I think you do. I think that's the perfect way to get yourself back in the newspaper again. We are here on our wedding anniversary for the cup final in London.
There you go.
London, baby. Come on.
Well, she has been bugging me because we haven't gotten down to, I mean, obviously we got to Edinburgh, we got to York the last 2 trips, but we haven't gotten down to London yet. Maybe if I promise her a West End show.
I think the cogs have already started turning there.
Yep. Good to see you, Baz. Good evening, everybody. Gary!
Guys, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Anything's possible, mate, because I convinced my wife to marry me at St. James's Park. There you go.
Yep.
That's a true story as well. I know.
Nice.
She's not into it much, but I had me evening do at St. James's. True story. I'm having a bit of a Morrow moment, like, because me mic and me cam and me chat's over in the far top right-hand corner, and I don't know why it's not at the bottom. And it's all over the shop. So
we could see you lovely, so it's all good.
Well, I was wondering when I came on, was I going to be upside down or something, because everything else is all over the freaking place. But
all good.
All you can say is that's the main thing. I've just flipped round if I had to do a headstand and do the show for an hour.
No, that would be a Morrow moment if you were upside down. That would have been brilliant. Right.
Oh, no. Class.
Right. Cracking news today. I think this is cracking news. Everyone else is probably thinking, well, we can't sign anyone. This is a load of bollocks. But I'm going to tell you why I think this is cracking news. Mbeumo, baby. The Mirror, for a start, not the Sun, which is always a very good start when you read a title. Apparently, we've made a £60 million approach to Brentford. Now, everyone said this is crazy. Brentford are fighting for things. Why would Brentford sell?
Arguably their best player.
Arguably their best player with Wissa. I'm going to tell you why they would sell him. Because I think he wants to move. And the other reason being is that Brentford are 10 points behind us now and we're sitting in 5th.
Yep.
This for Mbeumo is the perfect opportunity in a January window to go to a team and push. I mean, if we sign him, he pushes us into the top 4. Definitely top 5, which is Champions League after Man City managed to scrape through against Club Brugge. So I don't think this is as crap as everyone thinks it is. I mean, because normally, Gary, you know what I'm like when we're in the chat, unless we hear Steve or someone like that mention it days before, it comes out in the newspaper. Oh, yeah, we've heard about that. Nobody's heard a thing.
No.
So nobody's heard anything. It's just come out of the blue today. It's only the Mirror who are saying it, but they're 10 points behind us. This is the perfect chance for Brentford to sell them because they're not going to get relegated. It's the perfect chance for Mbeumo to move on to a bigger and better club. And if you remember the talking with Luke Edwards, he said, I don't know if he said it on the mic, but he did say it to me around the table or something. And I'm sure you were there as well, Gary. You said,
I was,
Yeah, we can do a deal in January because a deal in January to go towards PSR for the end of this year, you half everything. Because it's only it's only 6 months he's signed in for, technically, for this PSR year.
So we only get dinged for 30 million.
Yeah. So over 5. No, so let's just say it's 60 million over 5 years.
12 million.
So you divide it by 5 and then half it again.
Yeah. That's what was it? Luke? No, Stefan said that. Sorry. Stefan said that.
Stefan said it as well, didn't he? On our show.
Yeah,
and Luke
he said it on your show. Yeah.
So that's wages and the fee. The only problem it is that next summer, that's when it becomes a problem, depending on how close we are to the PSR and the wages barrier. But to do it now, it's not as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Right. I've seen the like the headline, but I haven't read that article. I haven't read it or anything. Is that a bid for this month, or is it a bid in the summer, or is it just? So it's a bid now.
Yeah, I think it's a bid now.
I'm wondering, because Eddie being Eddie said nothing's happening. So, but you never know, Eddie. I'm wondering if Newcastle always said, Stavely said this. If there was ever an opportunity that comes along to buy a player, then there's a possibility we'll do the deal. Now, I'm wondering, have Brentford contacted with?
I'm not sure Brentford would actively sell him.
Maybe he wants to go, like you said. They want the money to get a replacement in next week.
Yeah, possibly.
Possible. I don't know. It's just
today's the deadline, isn't it? Today's the last day. Isn't it?
No,
is it not?
No. It's extended to Monday.
No, that's 3 days. It's been moved to February 3rd.
Midnight. Is it Monday? Is it midnight or is it noon?
Oh God! To be honest, they change it all the time, mate. It's like the only thing I know is it's on Monday, and I think it's midnight. I think it's 11 o'clock at night or something. I don't think it's a noon thing or anything. But yeah, there's a couple of days left. That's all I can assume. But look, big if. But if we sign him, I agree. That's top 4. We will get top 4. Right now, I'm unsure. I mean, I'm saying top 4. It's practically top 5 now. So
yeah, it's definitely top 5. I think it's 90% sure that England are going to get the next one. We've just got to make sure at least 2 or 3 of the English clubs qualify through the next stage. Because obviously, Man City, you've got Real Madrid. That's a tough ask. But if the other ones just knock the teams out that they're playing and get through to the next bit, I think that's it, guaranteed.
Yeah, it's close. So it's one of those. Look, I'd be delighted. He's definitely in my top 3 or 4 signings that I want. He's absolutely quality, and we desperately need a right winger because we've got one, and that man is Jacob Murphy. Nothing against him; he's been fantastic this season, but we have got Jacob Murphy as our only right wing. Now, if you heard that, if you got told in the summer that come January, Jacob Murphy would be our regular starter right back, more than have another one, you would have just said you're crazy. But I mean, fair dues to Murphy, he's been absolute quality, but talking about next level here. And
have you seen this graph? This is incredible, by the way, for Murphy. So this here says top 5 league wingers expected goals and assist. And Murphy's 3rd.
And look at I was going to say, look at the names mentioned up there.
Exactly. Salah, Yamal, Saka's obviously top. That's incredible. For Jacob Murphy to be there, and we said at the start of the season he was our weakest link at right wing. Fair play to the lad, because I mean he's worked so hard. I didn't want to put that up, but Gary jumped onto that one, and I don't blame you. So it fitted in quite well. But Dan, your thoughts on Mbeumo first?
First, the 19 jerseys available. Slips right in, and definitely an upgrade on Manquillo in that kit. I agree with both of you. He brings a level of ability that again, no downplaying Murphy. Mbeumo brings us. He solidifies that right hand side. He gives us the right hand side what Gordon gives us on the left hand side. We're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's the solution that we should be looking for. I was hoping that it would be in the summer. If we can make that happen now, especially, we have 8 million in the bank right now. We got 8 million for Miggy.
Well, it's more than 8 million. I know it's 8 million in the bank, but how long was his contract?
He signed a new one. I think he had about a year left, didn't he? After this summer.
What's he signed for them? Like, what's the
4-year deal?
3 or 4 year deal. Yeah,
it was 4.
8 times 3, 8 times 4. That's what you get to spend.
So there's like half the money right now. Yep.
Yeah.
28 million, 32 million type. Is that what?
I know it sounds daft, but that's the way. Oh, apparently, it was 4 years.
Yep.
Do you know PSR's bollocks in it?
I know.
Do you know what
we
it is
talk
though?
about it too much, don't we?
Oh, do you know what it is though? I mean, you regularly hear that we've got the best midfield three in the country.
Yep.
Adam Buemo there. Have we got the best front three in the country?
Yeah.
Yes.
You could argue. I mean,
You could argue
right
we've got
now.
one of the best front threes now. But I think Liverpool will probably rival, though. I think Liverpool have probably got the best front three.
Yeah.
And then it's a toss-up between us and Man City. Because obviously we're firing, they're not. So, I mean, they've got Foden and Haaland, and then Doku, Grealish, they've got so many options. But we are definitely in the top three.
Three.
I think it would be a brilliant signing. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat to see if it actually happens.
Yeah.
I can't see Thomas Frank. I don't see Thomas Frank letting him go. But if, by the same token, you don't want an unhappy player at the club, and if it's Mbeumo who's pushing to say, look, this is my chance. This is Champions League for me. I don't see why not.
And this is a chance for him to get a club who is knocking on the door and push them into a Champions League place and probably potentially regular Champions League football if you've got that front three. Can you imagine what Isak's thinking if he sees? I know Murphy's been feeding him really well. And again, this is no disrespect to Murphy because he's been excellent. But we don't know when this purple patch with Murphy is going to end. And he's not that young anymore either. I keep thinking Murphy's like 23. He's not. He's 29.
He's 29. Yep.
Exactly. I know he doesn't look it.
His legs certainly don't. His legs certainly don't act like 29-year-old legs.
Exactly. He's got good genes. He's in his prime. He's come really good this season. It's just, it worries me if we are just stuck with Murphy for the rest of the season, because if he goes into one of those patches where he goes on 1 in 5, that could hamper us finishing in the top 5. That's what I'm worried about.
Agreed.
I think it's a risk. I think we're covered everywhere else. I know what we could do with a centre back, but I still think there's cover. Kraft can go at right centre back. He's done it this season and he's played well. Right wing is a problem. Like you said, if Murphy goes off his purple patch, then we've got weakness at right wing, and even worse, if he gets injured, we've just had one manager saying that we haven't got anybody else who can really play there. So it's one of those, isn't it? Or I know it's like PSR's paying for them.
No.
Trying to explain the rules.
It's not. Please. Oh my days.
The oldest year drops off. We still have this year to contend with. So
exactly. It's 1 year.
It's
behind.
Rolling.
It's the year in front of you, and it's the year going forward. It's never a 3-year cycle where 3 years, then you start again. It's always 2 behind, 1 in front, isn't it? Please
do you want
the show. I can't explain it better than Stefan, and Stefan explained it brilliantly. So,
I mean, before we jump off Murphy and Mbeumo here, but controversial.
Go on.
I'd love to hear comments as well. I would sell Murphy in the summer while he's at his peak. Get the money from him, because
God for that.
We have done this before. We've kept a hold of people like Wilson and Trippier when we got money for them. Now they're worth practically none.
The only argument I'll give you is if we finish in the Champions League and we've got those extra games, if you sell Murphy and you keep Mbeumo, who you sign in to replace Murphy, and how much is that costing you?
Right.
I think Murphy is a very good squad player.
Well,
and yes, I understand what you're saying. I mean, his value will never be as high as what it is now. In the summer, it'll go down a little bit more. I think he's never injured. He's always available. If we're in, let's just say we're in the Europa League instead of the Champions League, perfect player for a Thursday night.
The one thing I will say is, if PSR wasn't a thing, I'm not getting rid of Jacob Murphy in the summer. Absolutely not. But PSR is a thing, and I don't know. Maybe
I'd go Harvey Barnes. get more money for him, and we already have Joe Linton and Willock who can play on the left wing as well.
Maybe Murphy's a bit older.
My question to you guys is who's the market for a Murphy? Are you going to sell him to another Premier League club? Or are you going to sell him to a Championship club that can afford him?
I think Premier League will have him. I think somebody in the Premier will take him. I mean, you're talking about
maybe we could put him in with the Brentford deal with him.
Yeah,
that's
possibly.
what I was just thinking.
I have no doubt in my mind, whoever gets promoted, all 3 promoted clubs next season will buy Jacob Murphy. Absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
I
think
it's going to be an interesting weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the hierarchy have said, sod it, we'll take a risk. We buy in Bremo, we finish top 5, we can cope with PSR.
I think it's worth a risk. I mean, I honestly do. It's Stefan confirmed it. You're not paying 60 million. You're not paying that. He says January is an easier month to do deals than you think it is.
It's just the follow-on for the next month.
Yes, the follow-on. He says as long as they've got a plan in the future. And I have no doubt they have got a plan. And I mean, look at the money the Champions League generates. What we're going to do, wait till the summer and then try for Champions League again. It's in the palm of our hands here. Top 5. I know he couldn't play in the cup game and the cup final, but it's right there. The only way I can see this happening is if Thomas Frank's been promised he will be getting a replacement. Otherwise, this is not going to happen. And who that replacement is, I don't know. That's Brentford's business.
My question, who if they can't get a replacement in, the deadline's too tight. Who does Thomas Frank have to play on that right-hand side?
I mean, I'm guessing it'll be
I would have to go look at their.
They'll have some talent hidden somewhere because Brentford are well run like Brighton.
Yep.
They've always got someone available, haven't they?
They'll bring some kid from the academy up or something.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was a few played against us in the cup on the right because obviously Bremo was on the bench, wasn't he?
You thought Newcastle might be making a move now because they're thinking it might be more difficult in the summer.
I think so. It'll be harder to sign him in the summer because more clubs will be looking at it then as well, won't they?
You're talking about Liverpool possibly Salah gone,
right?
So they're going to need a right winger. Man United will be sniffing around because that's what they do. Arsenal, they've got Saka. They'll not be interested. Villa, possibly. I don't know. Depends. Champions League for me with them. Then you've got Chelsea. Yeah, they'll be interested. They want everybody.
They want every winger, don't they?
Well, I was laughing because Man City and Chelsea have both come out saying that they need to add to the squad because of the games, and they're sitting with 5 wingers each, and we've got 1 right winger, but we're plodding along here. It's nonsense. And maybe somebody from Chelsea, Brentford have got their eye on because I've got plenty of them. So to one of those, I mean, could be an interesting couple of days. I mean, I'm probably still going to listen to what Eddie Howe said and not get me hopes up.
I'm the same. I just don't think
it is
interesting. Crazy as it sounds.
Those are Eddie Howe mind games, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's brilliant at it. So and from a selfish point of view, Baz, good looking beard.
Yes, very good looking beard. So if Mbemba was to go, Sharda would be his replacement. I think
there you go.
In the squad. And he's quick. He's actually quite good. But I'm sure he scored against us when we played at their place.
I think he did. Yeah.
Very, very quick.
Ask Denny.
Yeah, he'll definitely know. He'll definitely know. Right, press conference. I haven't had much of a chance to look at it. I haven't been too busy at work, but we're not allowed our phones on at work, so I find it difficult to look at everything all the time. I'm going to do a video about the Marquia thing tomorrow, I think. But Next group of games will be important for us. Every result takes on huge importance. We have been on a run of results and doing well, so we need to carry that on. I mean, it's been a fantastic run, hasn't it, Dan? I mean, 10 and 11 wins, no draws in there, 10 wins, 1 loss. You know, that draw is on the cards at some point, but we've just got to keep riding this wave, haven't we?
Agreed. Yep. No, and you could see in the last match that the guys wanted it back. You know, they were down after the Bournemouth game. And again, you know, Bournemouth just proves to be Eddie Howe's bogey team. You know, just it's for whatever reason we can't seem to get a result past them. But you could see the players were up for it. I mean, again, go back and watch that Tonali goal. Just watch the interplay amongst the team. I mean, it was Tonali who won the header, who then got it to Isak, who then put it out to Gordon, who then and Tonali just kept his run going. It was brilliant stuff to watch.
It was like watching Rob Lee before you sold him for Jordy and Jutram.
Yep, exactly. No, it was the epitome of what a box-to-box midfielder looks like. Yeah. And he took the goal well, and you know, just the smile on his face, and then the, you know, come on over to the corner. It was just, I think the guys have got the bit between their teeth again, and they're like, you know, let's see what we can do with this. Look at where we are. Look behind us. You know, I think they've got it in their heads now that this is in their hands. Bournemouth was a blip. Let's move. And you know,
I agree.
Good. Good. Yeah, it's the word I'm looking for. More power to them is what I was looking for. Yep.
Yes. Gary, the other thing about the goal that Dan just mentioned there, and it was great to watch. It just showed the team are singing off the same hymn sheet all the time, and it's another thing why we've won 10 games out of 11. And it reminded me of the Sir Bobby Robson days and the Keegan days, the Rob Lee, the Kieran Dyer, breaking from midfield the way that Tonali did with pace and cleverness, you know, determination, saw the space. It was a joy to watch, and I've watched that goal so many times. I know it's a tap in the end, but it's just the way we ripped them apart so quickly was just unbelievable.
It was, I wouldn't care, Tonali started it
by
winning a header in the middle of the park, and he was the one who finished it. That run was from a world-class footballer.
Yeah.
And the layoff, Isak to Gordon with that beautiful through ball, and Tonali did the rest. But Tonali made that goal. I mean, I don't think I've seen a fitter footballer in the Premier League than Sandro Tonali. That man could run 3 games in a week, absolutely no problem.
I was going to say, you need to clarify what you mean by fitter there for a second.
Well, no, he's a good looking. I think he is a good looking lad. Like, to be honest, I'm not going to complain about that. But his engine and his fitness levels are off the chart. He was struggling a bit when he first came back because of fitness wise, because he was staying match fitness.
How many times did we talk about it?
But on about the link up play, I think back in the day as well, managers didn't change their teams as much as they do now. And I think Man City have suffered this season from rotation. I think they can't get a settled back line, and I think that's shown with the amount of goals they've let in and midfield's the same. Whereas our team's been very settled, I would say, throughout the season. And that's down to just Bunce doing what he's doing, Eddie taking players off at certain times, and probably Europe as well, not having Europe. But it shows the link-up play and how just they're feeding off the same hymn sheet, basically. But they're quality players as well. I mean, Gordon, Isak, Tonali, Bruno. I'm running out of words to describe the talent these lads have got.
By the same token, Gaz, we've also seen the likes of a Gordon, the likes of a Murphy, be one-on-one with the keeper and struggle. They've kicked it right at the keeper. Tonali didn't even. You knew as soon as
he eyes, didn't he? It was brilliant.
Yep. You knew it was going.
Well,
you opened his body like he was going to go on the far corner, and you waited for the keeper to dive, and then he just dragged it into the near corner instead.
It was perfect. So well taken. Sorry.
I mean, Isak's missed countless
Too
one-on-ones
many
this season
one-on-ones
in his World
recently,
Cup. And it's like, I mean, you're right. He gave the player the eyes. When he went through, I never had any doubt he was going to miss it.
Right.
Not one. Whereas
I
other
had
players, I think they're
slight
going to.
doubt because of the Man United miss when he hit the post. I was just like, oh, don't miss this one. It's the only reason why. Right, let's move on because we're going to run out of time if we don't. Eddie Howe and Miggy, I wanted to touch on this because obviously he's gone back to America. Dan's going to get to see him play still because he'll come up against his own team. But Miggy was a very special player in person. He'll be greatly missed by everyone. Miggy had a bubbly and bright personality. He was an ultra professional. Now, I know Miggy has so many critics. We've all been critics of him. Even myself, even though I love him, I can still give a personal criticism when a player doesn't play well. But I always liked Miggy from the day we signed him because he fitted in very well with Rafa's system. He is a number 10. I've been back and I've been watching all these Atlanta goals, and he played at 10 and he was smashing them in from the edge of the box, taking free kicks and all this sort of stuff. And I felt sorry for Miggy because when Steve Bruce came, he destroyed him. And then when Eddie took him, he molded him and tried to make him into a right winger. And he had that amazing purple patch.
Yep.
But he's not a right winger. And this is why but he was 110%er. And that was the thing that I liked about him so much, is that he didn't whinge. He didn't say, I don't want to play on the right wing, I want to be a number 10. If I can't be a number 10, I want to leave the club and go somewhere where I can be my best myself. But he used to make so many runs. I used to point this out to people when we were crap. Watch Miggy's runs. He makes great runs in between the right centre back and the left back. We didn't have anyone in midfield who was good enough to find him. And then Bruno came and then started finding him. But then people cottoned onto it and then they stopped it. And then Miggy kind of went off the boil a little bit again. But we'll always remember the Champions League goal. It's the first one. And the roof went off St. James's Park that night. The goal against Fulham was superb, that volley. No one saw that coming. The goal against Palace, Everton, he still scored 30 goals. Yep. And he was still scoring 1 in 5, which is not fantastic, but it's not terrible. And a lot of people forget about his defensive work as well. But the thing I loved the most was the welcome return that he got at the airport.
And like you said, if you go back and look at all those Atlanta goals, I mean, Major League Soccer's website just put out a wonderful video of a whole bunch of his highlights. I knew what player we were getting when Rafa signed him because, of course, I'd seen him tear apart San Jose Earthquakes. It was obvious to me what player we were getting. The question was, how was he going to fit in? And that front three of Rondon, Ayoze Perez, and Miggy was wonderful to watch. I loved Miggy. And I'm so thrilled for him to go back to Atlanta, where I know he will be idolized. I was in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in summer of 23 during the summer series when he scored the goal against Chelsea. And the roof came off because it didn't matter what Premier League team you followed in Atlanta. I had standing where I was standing. I was surrounded by Chelsea supporters, Arsenal supporters, Liverpool supporters. They all were there to watch Miggy because they followed Miggy when he played for Atlanta. And to see the reception he got at the Atlanta airport when he arrived today, it was just too much fun. You could see that the fans were there. There were lots of Newcastle shirts with Almiron on the back. I'm chuffed for him. He's going back to someplace he knows. He's going back to familiar haunts. I'm just happy for him. I'm thrilled for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Eddie then also went on to say, when you play Fulham, you can see their qualities. They are very brave with every aspect, with and without the ball. They've added some players that have made their team very competitive. They were very impressive against us. Obviously, they hammered us 3-1 at their place. They've rejuvenated a few careers. I never thought that guy from Everton would do really well over there. I was shocked. But it's going to be a tough game on Saturday. Eddie Howe also said Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak's link up. Jacob and Alex are producing goals for us, and it is a great thing. We work on relationships all over the team and training. I'm a big believer in partnerships. You can make your partner play better. It's great to see the two having a great season. And to touch on that one, especially Gary, is that because Gordon and Isak are so dangerous down the left-hand side, Miggy's getting a lot of free rein on the right-hand side because people forget about him. And that's another reason why he's performing so well this season, because he's getting great chances produced by teams over defending the left-hand side where it used to be the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Murphy wasn't. Yeah. I think, actually, I nipped out before because I went to get that book.
There he is.
That's my wife's cup. Knows nothing about football, but she loved Miggy Almiron for some reason. But I think the whole country sees Gordon as a big threat, and I think that's why the players there is more on the right, because basically Trippier's not there anymore. So they see the threat from the left. Lewis Hall's obviously transformed this season, so it's giving them space. And you know what it is? Every time Murphy gets the ball, when Joe Linton gets the ball and goes to shoot, I go, will you stop in shooting?
Yeah.
Right? Every time Murphy gets the ball, I want him to shoot, because he's got a hell of a shot on him. And
he's Thunderbolt.
Yeah, and this is giving him more space. So every time he gets it, I'm thinking, just hit the thing. But I think the space is coming from Gordon being Anthony Gordon and the threat he causes to the rest of the league. And it's a nice balance we've got in the team at the minute. I've always been old-fashioned. I always liked the right-footed right winger and the left-footed left winger. And Miggy's last best performance for me was at Old Trafford, when in the cup, when he scored and he was on the left wing, and that was the last time I thought he played really well. And it's a shame we didn't see more of him on the left. I get why he didn't play him there, because obviously we had a lot more cover there. But it's just a nice balance to the team at the minute, and it's good to watch. And
it's
fabulous to watch on the right hand side for Murphy at times. Maybe they're underestimating Murphy a bit. That's why he's getting a lot of space and a few assists.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're over defending the left hand side because of Gordon and Isak drifting out there. And then that's leaving Murphy with so much space. I mean, I remember watching I was at the Wolves game really high up in level 7. And for the first 20 minutes, Murphy was just free on the right-hand side all the time. I'm like, get the ball over there. And it took us ages to get the ball over there. Then they cottoned onto it and went, we better start defending that side as well. So
you will know this one. Murphy's in for a hard game tomorrow because he's coming up against a bloody good left back and Robinson. So
that's what I was about to say.
Likes to go forward, and Murphy could catch him out potentially if he gets too far forward. So
he goes very far forward. Now I've watched Robinson a lot recently, and as good as a player I think he's been this season, I'm keeping my fingers crossed here. He's put a few wayward crosses in mine. Far too far over the bar. His runs are great, but there's something just missing in the final. He's not like that Bournemouth guy.
You've just jinxed it.
Yeah, well, I've crossed my fingers. That Bournemouth guy last week he destroyed Kirkred. And Robinson, I think he's a good player, but I think you're right. I think Murphy can exploit the space, because I think he powers forward. And I'm not sure where Harry Wilson plays, but Wilson's out tomorrow. He's done something with his foot. So
he's a doubt. Someone
he's broken his foot.
He's broken his foot. Yeah, he's broken his foot. He's went for an operation. He's gone for an operation. He's had an operation.
Right, because SofaScore still has him down as a doubt and actually has him in the starting 11. So that's very, very interesting.
And Tom Kearney is not the Tom Kearney that we know. From several years ago. So Traore, Rodriguez or Jimenez, and Robinson are the three that I had chalked up as the ones that I'm worried about.
We'll come to that now, because here's their potential lineup. Obviously, with Harry Wilson, I'll have to come out with that now because he's obviously injured. Tete is also injured, and Nelson is also injured as well. I mean, Robinson for me is obviously a big danger, like you mentioned. Iwobi's just on another level now since he's gone to Fulham.
Yep.
I mean, I slated him how many times, and then he absolutely hammered us at their place. So I'm not saying a
Mm.
bad word about him. Smith Rowe is obviously a fantastic player, one that we looked at. Jakob Anderson as well. We would have took him as our right centre back, and he's obviously at Fulham. So Fulham do have a decent team, but on the road, Fulham are one of those teams that don't like, a bit like Brentford, don't like winning away. The last 5 times we've had head-to-heads, they beat us once and we've beat them 4 times. And obviously that was the 3-1 win this season. So everything's sort of pointing towards a Newcastle win. But I mean, what do you think of their team? Is Sander Berg as well, the one that we were interested in from Sheffield United?
Yes.
You know, he's a tidy footballer as well, isn't he?
There's something, I mean, from their lineup, Lukic. I tell you what, Lukic and Joe Linton are 2 of the dirtiest players in the Premier League. Now, one of them could get sent off tomorrow. Because I think Lukic has had about 8 or 9 bookings this season, and I watched him against Man United, and he likes to stick his foot in as well. So I think Iwobi's the one for me. I think he's
gone on another level, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how old he is now, but he runs around like he's 24 years old, and I don't think he is that. I think he's a lot older. But
sure, to be honest with you, I think he's
I'll go look.
27.
Yeah. But looking at that lineup, I think it's midfield again. If Newcastle's midfield dominate the game, we win comfortably. And I think Sander Berg and Lukic in the middle, 2 tackling CDMs coming up against our 3.
28.
28,
almost 29. Yep.
I can see if Newcastle's midfield win the battle tomorrow, from minute 1 till Newcastle will comfortably win the game for me tomorrow. But they've got threats. I mean, I think Jimenez is a good player, but I don't see any reason why Dan Burn, Shaw, Botman, whoever it is, couldn't deal with him. Because he's not the quickest player in the world. He's a bit skillful, he's powerful, strong, but that's Dan Burn's bread and butter. That he can. That's why he likes playing against. The wing, obviously Wilson, he's out. Iwobi's going to be a problem because I think Tino at times this season has been good, but I'm being convinced on him, and I think Iwobi will give him a decent game. But look, if Tino's got one strength in him, he's defending at the minute. I think he's suspect going forward, but his defending's normally solid anyway. But it's midfield battle for me, 100%. Smith Rowe, I watched him last week and I wasn't impressed with him against Man United. I think he's a good player. I have no doubt he's a good player, but still wonder why Arsenal sold him. And I'm always a believer that if one of the big lads gets rid of you, then are you going to be the player that you expect them to be? And he's a good player.
He's won games for Fulham, to be fair. It's just he's one of those ones where he's sort of like a biggish fish in a small pond, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's. I think he had a good start. I think he had a decent couple of months, but from what I saw against Man United, he was a bit hit and miss against them. Iwobi was a threat. I mean, at times he just kept running, and they kept taking him down. So, but I don't know. It's a hard. You know what I would class it as? It need disrespect to Fulham. It's a hard-working mid-table Premier League team that'll never attack the top, but it'll never be in fear of relegation. And I think that's what it is, and it'll be a hard game tomorrow. It always is against Fulham. But anyway,
and I snuck a 1-0 win against them a few years ago with Wilson to Isak sort of thing. So right, There's only one talking point for us, and that's who's going to be the two centre-backs, because we all know the team now picks itself again. It used to be a running joke with us, didn't it? That especially with all the injuries, we knew who was starting. And now, because we're so good and consistent, it's now becoming a running joke that it's only the two centre-backs that we need to pick from. I'll start with you, Dan. Who are your pairing for this game?
Share and Burn.
You going Sherburn?
Yep.
Any particular reason why Botman doesn't get back in, do you think? Or
No. No, I think Cher and Byrne have a partnership. I mean, Byrne hasn't done anything to warrant taking him out of the side. Cher was suspended, and then he was ill. Botman got a chance to prove that he's fit. We've got a fair number of games coming up, that we need all the depth we can get. So, you play Byrne and Cher, and if Byrne has a crap game or if Cher gets a crap game, then Botman comes in to save the day. I just think you go with what you know, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's where I'm going.
Valid point. Gaz, are you the same?
No.
Go on.
Burn Botman.
Burn and Botman, so two left footers again. Why?
Yeah, I know they had a bit of a disaster against Bournemouth, but everybody did.
True.
I've just got a feeling that Eddie Howe's going to play two centre backs against Arsenal, two different, one different one tomorrow and one different one again Wednesday. And I think he's going to look at Jimenez and go tall. I think Shaw will play against Arsenal. I could be miles off it here, but at some point we're going to have to get Sven Botman back in this team regular, because he's our best defender. There's no doubt. Shaw pissed me off, pardon me French. He paid the living daylights out of me last week when he left that ball for their frigging offside goal. He was lucky as hell. And do you know what it is? I'm getting a bit frustrated with him this season, and I have been since minute one when he got sent off with his frigging. I know it wasn't a sent off, but I think Shaw's been up and down this season, and I think he's been a bit lackadaisical. Against Bournemouth, when we needed somebody to come on and tighten it up, within 2 minutes he played the stupidest ball across his back line I've ever seen. And I don't know, I think Burn and Botman had dodgy games against Bournemouth, but at Arsenal they were rock solid, the pair of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not a fan of the two left-footed players, but I just think they're coming up against Jimenez tomorrow, and I'm quite happy to go with him, and I think you'll go Burn and Shaw against Arsenal.
Right, I've got a different opinion to all of you then. This is brilliant. So I'm going Botman and Cher for this game, and the main reason is I want Dan Burn and Botman in against Arsenal because of the corner threat. So I want Dan Burn rested. And the reason why I want Botman and Cher in for this game is I think we're going to have 65-70% of possession. And I think with Dan Burn at the centre-back, how slow he is playing out from the back will actually stop us from being at our efficiency going forward. Where Botman and Cher will be able to pass the ball faster out from the back to be able to get around Fulham faster. And that's the reason why I would do it. So there's two reasons. The quickness of the play would be better. And then you've got an eye on Wednesday night where you bring Dan Burn back in and you keep Botman in because of the height and because of their corner threats.
I've changed my mind. Yeah, you're right, Baz. Do you know what it is? I forgot about Stoke City's corners on Wednesday or Tuesday whenever we play.
Yeah, that's it. We're playing Stoke on Wednesday.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right as well. Burn in the last couple of games playing out from the back has been absolutely shocking. Slow. When he passes the ball out the back, he's the worst defender we've got for passing out the back. This is nothing against him. He's had a great season.
Great defender,
right?
He's just not a ball-playing defender.
Yeah, he's not a ball-playing defender. And Botman is. And Shaw, we know Shaw is. He's just a frustrating, lazy bugger at times. Honestly, he is. But I think you're right now. I've changed my mind.
No,
Sorry.
solid points, Baz. So, yep, no complaints. I'd go with.
I've got no
I think he
problem
might
with
do that. I think he might do that.
It doesn't matter who they play. I still think we're going to win the game. I just think that's the way. Horses for courses. We've been talking about this quite a lot. Having strength and depth and changing around things when you're playing against a certain team. Now, if we're playing against Man City, I'd probably say get Dan Burn in alongside Botman because we're not going to have a lot of the ball and we need to have that solid defence. But because we're playing Fulham, horses for courses, play a more attacking centre-back pairing who are better on the ball and keep the game flowing a lot faster. Sure. And it's,
I mean,
I would like to see more of this from Eddie Howe playing horses for courses sometimes because he doesn't. He won't throw on a Sule. He always throws Willock on late now, which is really frustrating. Miley's only getting thrown on late. You know, when we're playing against teams in the bottom half of the table, you want to see them get more minutes. And he's got into the mold as a manager, and it's constructive criticism. And obviously, I love Eddie Howe. But he needs to have more trust in his bench. Instead of waiting for games to be won to make changes, he still should be trusting the players to come on, even if the game's at 2-1. Throw Miley on. We know how good he is. We've seen what he did against PSG. We've seen what he did in the Premier League. You know, for me, if you get called out off the bench when you're 3-1, 4-1 up, you're thinking, oh, I'm just getting a run out because the game's won. But if you get thrown on at 2-1, you know you're being thrown on to make a difference in the game. And it's a little bit of a different mindset, isn't it? So,
yeah. I have to admit, I think you're right. I think you can rely on Miley to come on and do a job. The one thing Eddie doesn't do is take Sandro Tonali. Regardless of what is happening in a game, that man stays on the pitch. And that tells me everything about Sandro Tonali and how important Eddie Howe sees him right now. I mean, but I think you're right. I think he needs to trust his bench just a bit more, but trust the right players. Obviously, he's not gonna trust certain players to come on, but Miley will come on and do your job for you.
We've got the quality now. You know, we weren't when we were backs against the wall with all those injuries. We knew the bench was useless, but now we've got everyone there. We know the bench is actually quite decent, not fantastic, but there's certain players who can come on and still make a difference in a game, given enough time to do it. But there you go. We'll go through a quick head-to-heads and we'll look at the Premier League table and get our predictions for the game. So Newcastle are unbeaten in 8 top-flight home games, with Fulham winning 5 and drawing 3. It's those draws, isn't it, that really frustrate us. But obviously winning 10 and losing 1, you'd rather win 10, lose 1, than win 6, draw 4, wouldn't you? Because it works out better that way, doesn't it?
Draws are quite deceiving. Draws,
definitely. And we had too many of them over the years, and we're putting that right now. The Cottagers are seeking to complete a Premier League double over the Magpies for the first time since 2008-2009. Obviously, they beat us 3-1 in September. Newcastle have won 7 of their past 8 Premier League matches, losing the other. The Magpies have scored 22 goals in that 8-game spell, second only to Liverpool's 25. That's incredible. We've earned 15 points from losing positions. Only Man City with 17 have got a better record. So it shows we've got that bounce back ability again, which we've never had, which I think is unbelievable. Alexander Isak is level with Freddie Ljungberg as Sweden's 48-goal top Premier League scorer. There we go. 1 more goal and he's the top Swede in the Premier League. Fulham have lost just 1 of their past 7 top flight away fixtures, winning 3 and drawn 3. So they're in good form away from home at the moment, even though they're not really a side that travels well. Their average of 1.45 points per game away in 2024-25 is the highest in the Premier League season. However, Marcus Silva's side have only managed 1 win and 5 points from their past 5 league matches. The 1-0 defeat to Manchester United last weekend ended a run of scoring twice in 5 successive top-flight games. Obviously, we've done that ourselves in away games and stuff like that. We're unbelievable. Antonio Robinson is the only 4 outfield players to feature in every minute of Premier League action for his club this season, along with Collins, Virgil van Dijk and Zabrini. So obviously there's not many players who have managed to play every single minute. So that's quite interesting. got any other good stats? Nah. They're all good. I like those head-to-head stats. Right. Let's have a look at the Premier League table. We're 5th. Fulham are just scraped into 10th. They are 8 points behind us, which is quite a big gap. And like I say, Brentford aren't even in the top 10 anymore. And that's why I think the Mbeumo deal is actually a little bit, makes more sense looking at the league table. They're on like, I think it was, what did I say, 10 points behind us? I think they're on 31. Chelsea are breathing down our necks, but we're breathing down Man City and Nottingham Forest's necks after Bournemouth took care of them. Bournemouth are breathing down our necks after taking care of us, but they've got Liverpool at the weekend. So we've got a chance to put a bit more daylight between us again. Like a 4-point gap is a big gap because it's getting to that stage of the season now where every point is like gold dust. You just want to get them on the board. And we also want to keep Villa well behind us as they are at the moment. I mean, guys, Dan first, where are we going to finish looking at the table right now? I know it's tough to predict, but are we confident of getting top 5?
Top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5. Yep.
I love it.
I think we got results that will get us there. I think Man City still has some oops in them. You know, now that they've made it to the round of 16, that you know they've got their eyes on a different prize right now. They are more. I was listening to a pundit on the radio yesterday, where they said this is going to be one of those gap years for them, where they'll be willing to give up Premier League status as long as they stay in the European places, so that they can rebuild and they can solidify. You know, Chelsea's going to be Chelsea and try and buy everybody just because for whatever reason, you know they can apparently. So no, I think we can stick. I think top 5 at the least. I think it's possible that we could get up into that 4th spot. I just don't see Forest having another game like they did against Bournemouth. And for me, watching that game, it proved that our blip against Bournemouth was justified from the Bournemouth standpoint. I mean, they were much better on the day than we were. Yeah. We all saw it. So no, I'm confident top 5.
Love it. Gaz?
Big games this weekend. Villa, we've got a big chance. I don't know if a lot of people realise, but we do. Villa are at Wolves, fighting for their lives. Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Arsenal, City. It's a big weekend, and I think if we're signing Mbeumo 4th, if we don't sign Mbeumo 5th, I still think we get Champions League. The reason I think we get Champions League is I think Villa are going deep into Champions League. So that's going to take its toll, which it has at times this season.
Especially with selling Durant.
100%. I mean, I think they'll get somebody else in. They might, but I still think Champions League will take its toll. City are still, regardless of what anybody thinks, are still not firing. They've got problems in midfield and they've got problems in defence. You go and ask every City fan, they will tell you the same thing. They are frightened to play us. This is coming from Man City fans because of our midfield, because their midfield is weak at the minute. And you've got Bournemouth, who arguably are playing fantastic at the minute, no doubt. Will probably be up there, but we'll see how good Bournemouth are this weekend when they come up against the best team in the country.
And they're at home, though. They're at home to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So this is a big test for Liverpool as well.
100%. But if you want to be champions, you go and win at Bournemouth tomorrow. Yeah. And that's what champions do. And but I see no reason why Newcastle can't finish Champions League without many injuries, because I legitimately think we have got 2 world-class footballers. And I think that's why we will get it. And But we'll have to stay injury free because we haven't got the squad. We can't have an injury to Tonali or Isak or Gordon out like that, because then all of a sudden you're taking a lot out of that team.
Gordon,
But
you probably can. You probably get away with it. I will argue that one. But Tonali,
I mean, if Barnes is fit, yeah.
Isak, no. Even with Barnes not fit, you can still put Joe Linton out there. You can put Willian out there. I still think we've got enough. But if Murphy gets injured, then we're putting square pegs into round holes again. And then
well, it's probably one of us three at right wing.
Yeah, exactly. And then if Isak gets injured, you're putting your trust in Asula, or is he going to do that and then he puts Gordon up front instead?
No, he'll put Gordon up front. That's the problem. He'll put Gordon up front. But I think we can do it. But I just wish the owners would just give Eddie something. Yeah, just do it. Give him weight. You know you can do something. And if that's in Buemo, go and do it. And it's, look, you can't, what do you do? Just wait to see what happens. And then it come the end of the season. Shit, we should have done something.
Yeah.
And we might not get Champions League, but we're going to have a better chance when Buemo won the right Cup.
Yeah, of course we are.
No doubt about it. So just go
damned
for
if
it.
you do and damned if you don't, unfortunately. It is. It's like having one of those bets where you can cash it out for a profit, but you think you can ride it out. You've got a 1 miller and it's 15 minutes to go. Your cash out's like £200 less than what you would get, and you hang on, and then suddenly there's that equaliser, and that's it. Too late, everything's gone. You've lost, and that's technically what the transfer window is right now to us.
It's like Arsenal. Arsenal, go and buy a striker. Regardless, stop hovering around. If you want Watkins, put the money in and go and get him, because he could win you the title. But I don't understand why these clubs don't just. City are doing it because they know they've got
a
him.
lot of leeway with not signing too many players recently, and the PSR situation is easy for them.
Yeah, I'm including. I'm not including us in this because I know we have issues with PSR, but it's like Arsenal don't. Tottenham have got millions to spend, but they just don't spend it, and it's bizarre. The clubs just wait and wait and wait and wait. Sometimes you've just got to go, no, I'm not waiting, I'm going to do something. And I think you'll see something in the next few days that'll just spring up from somewhere in the transfer window, and everybody will look and go, for they mean business.
Yeah. The only thing is I worry about transfer window this time because it is a lot of clicks and it's selling newspapers and selling articles and things like that. But when you put the Mbeumo deal in front of me and you look at where Brentford are and you look at Mbeumo as a player, everything ticks the boxes that could be a surprise shock transfer on deadline day if we meet the valuation that Brentford want. And I said they've got enough cover in their squad for it to happen. So I just say let's just keep one eye on it and pray that it happens, but don't expect it. It's probably the best way to do it.
I mean, we're gonna try and buy him in the summer. So what difference does it make doing it?
Well, in the summer, you'll know your PSR boundaries better because the new system comes into play where it's got to be. Yeah. We'll also find out if we're in Europe, it's got to be 70% of your wages. If your turnover can only be on wages and stuff like that. So they're obviously trying to work out if they miss out on Champions League, are they still going to be in trouble? Would they be in trouble with PSI if they're buying Mbeumo now? Is it a risk? Is it a big enough risk? Are we? I mean, we as fans, we think, boom, this is easy fifth if we get Mbeumo, but that might not happen still, but we think it will. But the club have got to weigh everything up. That's the problem.
Yeah, football's, this is what pisses me off about PSL. Football's a game where you go for it. You try to be better. And these rules stop you from being better. It's not just us. I mean, teams getting promoted now haven't got a hope in hell's chance of staying up because they can't buy players. And if they do and they get relegated, they're screwed because of PSL. And it's just...
Well, the likes of Bournemouth, Forest, they're probably going to struggle in the summer, as we heard from Luke, because the ground's not big enough. They're not getting the match day revenue like a Spurs get, a Man United get, so they might have to sell. So we could be thinking, Brentford potentially in a bit of a PSR issue can they actually buy anyone if they do sell? So we might be looking to do a deal in the summer instead, because it's easier to sell in the summer to replace in the summer as well. That's the other side of it.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think the clubs that don't know are going to consistently sell somebody, as much as Bournemouth fans are, they are going to sell players because that ground holds 10,000 people or whatever. You can't sustain that. It's just not. Every team that's going to compete has to have a 50,000 plus stadium. And I'm not just saying that because we've got it. Chelsea know they need a bigger stadium. They do. They've known it for years. And they will do something at some point. But if you want to get into this elite, you've got to have the fan base in the stadium, or it's just not going to work.
But with Chelsea's stadium, they've got such high season tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
They make the money up because they fleece their fans as much as possible.
That's why West Ham can compete one day if they get the right owners, because West Ham have got a massive stadium, a huge fan base, and they're in London.
But it's not their stadium, though, is it? Which is the other thing. No. So it depends on the overheads and what percentage they get from match day revenue and stuff like that. So there's the other side of it. It's a tricky one. Anyway, let's move on to the last little bit because we've ran over our time. Predictions. Dan, prediction time. You were spot on last time, weren't you?
Yeah, that's why I'm going 3-1 again.
Yeah. I like it. Goal scorers?
Isak. I think Joe Linton might actually get one this time. I think we'll give up a goofy one, like we did last week. But I'm confident. I'm confident 3-1.
Okay, Gaz.
I don't know what's happening. There's 3-1 there. You've said 3-1. I think 3-1. I think exactly the same. I think we've got the most unstoppable striker in the world right now, and I just think you'll see it again tomorrow. I cannot see there being a shock goal scorer. I think it'll probably be a couple for Isak and goal. I know it sounds boring, but I think that's what it probably will be. But I think we'll have too much for them tomorrow. I think they'll be up for it. I think Eddie said it perfectly last week when he said, look, I'm not trying not to make excuses, but he says, we played a lot of football. He says it was an early kick-off. The players just never got going from minute one, and he says it was one of those games. I'm not expecting that tomorrow. I'm expecting Newcastle to come out firing, and I think they will. And I've always said this, if Newcastle, I know they're good at coming from behind, I know that. If Newcastle get the first goal, it's very difficult for the opposition to break them down.
I don't think we've ever been defeated this season when going ahead.
Nah. And that's just... I think I watched a Tottenham fan last week who was talking about a game at Southampton, and he says they've done the same against us. He says Newcastle aren't bothered. When they go 2-1 up, if there's half an hour, 40 minutes left in the game, he says they're not bothered. He says they'll just sit there and go, right, you come and attack when we get you on the counter. And he says they've done it against us. They've done it against Southampton at times. And he says they're not bothered. As long as Newcastle get in front, they're very difficult to break down after that. And I'm expecting an early goal in the first 10, 15 minutes, mate. I think we'll go 1-0 up early. And more than one for that shit performance we put in down there, because that for me was probably the worst performance of the season. For Bournemouth, it was horrendous. And
reminded me of the Brighton performance when we went to Brighton and got absolutely hammered 4-1. So
but comfortable win for me.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty comfortable, and I'm hoping it is because I want to see players get taken off and rested. So I think the players have been told, let's try and, let's get the crowd right on them straight at the very start, get the early goal, and then try and win the game comfortably. And then we can make the changes to rest for Wednesday night. So and it never works out this way, but I'm going 4-1. I did actually say 3-1 on Twitter, but I'm now going 4-1 instead. And Gordon to score the first goal, because it's been a while since he's opened the scoring for us. So I fancy Gordon to
probably
score.
Villa, that, isn't it? Villa, maybe?
I think so, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. So I think
that's Gordon, what we need to do. What we're doing against Villa.
Yeah.
Come out straight away. That's what they did. 1-0 up in 2 minutes.
Well, we tried to do that against Southampton, and they scored with their first shot, didn't they?
Yeah,
It was
because Dan Burn was on his arse at the edge of the box, and Shaw was just watching no man. So it's like that's why that goal was.
No comment.
Awful goal. Awful goal.
But 4-1, 3-1, 3-1, guys. That's what we're going for. Ask Denny. Maybe Denny could see into the future as well. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? But guys, don't forget, please. Like I said, I've literally took the day off work. I had to beg my boss. I messaged her and said, look, can I please have it off? I've got this guy who's coming up from Wales who's got this insane talent. You won't like it, but I like it. I told her today what the talent was, and she just looked at me and went, really? And I went, yes, really.
I give him the best.
Yeah, she was like, seriously? I went, I know, I told you wouldn't like it, but for me, this is an incredible talent. The lad can literally recite, you ask him a question, Newcastle against Fulham, all the way back in, 2001, what was the score? He will tell you the exact score. And sometimes he can also tell you the scorers, but his main talent is knowing exactly what the score was. So we're going to be outside Shearer's with a food bank bucket. We'll have a chalkboard. You put a £5 in the bucket. He will give you £50 if you cannot get the correct result that you ask him to get. Now, bearing in mind, it's all Premier League fixtures between Newcastle and anyone, not Championship, not FA Cup, not League Cup, just Premiership fixtures. So come and see us, have your £5 ready, have your game ready, and see if you can win £50 off the lad. He's told me he's going to bring up enough money to cover for a few losses, but he's not expecting to hand out any money. So we're hoping to raise confidence. It is very confident. So come and see us outside Shearer's. I'll be there recording it all, and we're putting it out as some content as well between the two of us. But please follow him. That's his TikTok account. He's a quality guy. He's like a jack in the box. He reminds me of someone I used to work with. Very like jumpy and great lad. And we might have him back on the shows at some point, but we'll see. But thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Let's just smash it. How are the lads? Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Gaz.
Guys.
Let's win it.